Balake. Where is Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. Ron.
Ron
All right,
is here, everyone. I'm
do I
joined.
look at you or do I look at me?
You know, show me what it looks like if you're looking at.
If I'm looking at you.
Me.
I'm looking over here. If I'm looking over here, I don't know.
Do you want to know what I do? I do neither.
Yeah, you're looking at the comments. That's what you're always looking at over here. Right?
So I've got my laptop in front of me, and I have hanging from a stick behind my computer a tripod that holds my phone. Hold on. Can you hear that phone ringing? Someone's trying to call me right now. I can't even. Can you hear that?
Scientologist. They want me to stop.
Can you hear it though?
No, I can't.
Okay, good. I don't know how to make that stop. Give me a sec. I'm going to quit that app. Okay, good. I am looking like at a spot between my computer and my phone, and I just get used to looking there because I know if I look right into the camera, it looks a little creepy. So I look like 3/4 of an inch.
Some people do this whole with the glowy face and like they're all like up in your grill.
Yeah. So look wherever you want, honestly, because I think it doesn't matter.
I'm probably gonna watch
really
it.
Matter.
I'm probably gonna keep looking at you. So what do you want to know from me? What do you want from me, Aaron?
I don't know, Daniel. Okay, for my audience, it feels like it might have even been a couple months ago now. I played a video for my audience of you on the Opie and Anthony show.
Yeah.
Performing a song that got 40 million views.
Oh yeah, I went viral before I even knew the term.
And in that video that I did, I promoted a YouTube channel because it's the one that Opie and Anthony had linked to, but it turns out it's the wrong channel. The channel that's on screen right now is the right channel for Daniel.
Yeah.
Daniel Mustard's Homeless Songs. So what's the story? Tell me the story of that Opie and Anthony video, how that came to be, what happened.
Oh, let's see. I was living in a park in Washington Square Park in New York City. And how do I tell this? It's been a long time since I've told this story. I got arrested. One night I got arrested and for drunk and disorderly. When you're homeless, they can't make homelessness illegal, but they make it against the law. They make everything you are and do and have to, be sitting on the sidewalk, for example, can get you arrested, lying down the bench, so on and so forth. So I got arrested. And normally they take you down to central booking. And this time they took me into a back office where I was really nervous because there was a story in Queens where some police had stuck a plunger up somebody's ass in a little room like that. But it turned out instead, I met a detective called Keith the Cop. That's what he calls himself. And he has some relationship with Opie and Anthony. And they used to do a bit in Boston where they'd get a bunch of homeless people together, put them on a bus and bus them out to some suburban mall somewhere and unload them on the mall. And then everybody be closing their shutters and like trying to get the crazy homeless people out of their shops a week before Christmas and so they were bringing homeless people on that they were just finding randomly, I think, to interview on the show so that when they did the bit, people were more emotionally invested. And I mentioned that I sing and play guitar, and they brought me a guitar, not my guitar. There was a lot of controversy about that guitar because it's a very nice guitar. It's not my guitar. It was their guitar.
Were people like, how could you be homeless?
He's not homeless. He's going to jail. Or yeah, that was the funniest one. That one, the guitar was somehow evidence, it's all conspiracy, no theory. Or that my hands were too clean. That was an insistence as well, that my hands were too clean. But I washed my hands even when I was homeless, and social distance and all that. So where was I? So I sang 3 of my songs, and they wanted to hear. I sang a song, one of my songs, and they were like, "Oh my god!" They thought it was going to be all drunk and stupid, and it was actually pretty good, and they were very surprised by that. And then they wanted to hear a cover. And the funny thing about Creep is that it was not one of the covers I used to do. I had a set of covers that I did, like 15 songs I did over and over and over again for 3 years. I couldn't remember a single one of those songs. All I could come up with was that CE change, which that song was kind of famous for. Anyway, so I just fucking sang it. What do you want to know? It's one of those things that felt very clandestine. It felt like some sort of like meant to be kind of thing. And I don't know how much I believe that anymore, but that's part of the Scientology upbringing, is that magical thinking. I always think.
So like they didn't specifically seek you out. You just happened to be someone that Officer Keith or what?
Yeah, I'm just somebody who's happened to get arrested that night, the night before they were doing the thing. I
Wow.
just happened to get arrested that night. Normally I wouldn't have. The funny thing too also is because the normal day hadn't happened. There was all this other stuff going on. There's a guy called Miguel who was up in the NYU birthing, buying weed off of a NYU student, or maybe he was selling weed. I don't remember. But I was waiting on the stoop. So like when the security guy comes along and tells me to fuck off, normally I would have. But at that particular instance, I was full of a lot of rum and feeling like I was entitled to be there because I was waiting for the guy who actually lived there. So I was like, no, I'm not going to move. And so that's how I got arrested. But not my normal behavior is all I'm saying. I don't know what else to say. You know, it happened, and then I just kind of rode this little tiny wave that I didn't really know what to do with. Everybody's pissed at me for not capitalizing more on that, but I'm not much of a capitalist, and I don't know how to self-promote.
Well, I'm happy to help promote for you.
All right.
By the way, for anyone, there's this comment here from Batgoat. Oh wow, Mustard. I used to listen to Open Anthony. He did Creep, and it was emotional.
Yeah.
Now I didn't watch.
People still recognize me from that, and that was like 12 years ago or something.
Wow. I haven't listened to the interview or anything. I'm a little surprised. I know how controversial Open Anthony like to be. They like to be bomb throwers. Did Scientology ever come up in your chatting with them?
No. In fact, for a long time, I never talked about it. And back then I wouldn't have, no, there's no way I would have mentioned it. I spent a lot of time not talking about it, trying really hard to forget. The fact of the matter is, I didn't even realize how scared I was of it until I moved across the country, until I moved to New York and got that much distance away from people, places, and things, as they say in recovery. You know, it's hard. It's difficult for me to talk about. So here's these things I know in my head that I kind of want to say, which is, I was born into the thing, right? My parents were both Sea Org members. My father ran away from home when he was a teenager to join the Sea Org in the way that people used to run away to join the circus. My mother joined, she's older. She's older than him. She's like 9 years older than him. So she had already had a marriage and 3 children. And then she divorced her husband and then ran off to California to join the circus herself. And the joke of it to me, and it's all very California, which is like, these are 2 people that never should have met. My mother was a debutante and a beauty queen. My father was a hippie and his mother was a Quaker. You know what I mean? Like, these are not people that should have ever crossed paths. And, but only something as bizarre as Scientology could have made that happen. But that was California. That was everything. You know, that was all over the water. Everybody in that generation was really looking for alternative ways of living, alternative ways of doing things. And you get L. Ron Hubbard, you get Jim Jones, you get Charlie Manson, you get all sorts of psychos coming out there. You also get Tim Leary and also, there's all sorts of people to throw into that pile. And so, like, I understand my parents well enough to know why, I understand my father well enough to know why he did what he did. But my mother's just a fucking idiot, to be honest. But she was a real true believer. Like, she was really honest to God, billion-year contract. She meant it. And even though they kicked her out at a certain point because of kids, because they changed the rules on having kids in the Sea Org, she continued to live her life like a Sea Org member, and she continued to work. And for a long time, she worked 3 jobs. I had no idea that we were so poor, not because she didn't have money, but because she was giving all her money to the church. I remember the day she sat me down and showed me her little IS pin. Like, she was so proud of herself, and she thought I was going to be proud of her too. And I was horrified because I had gone without most, so many things at that point. It's like, where she wasn't around to be a mother, and also there was no money coming into the house because it was going to them.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a whole lot.
For the people who are watching that are familiar with most of the Scientology folks, can you say who your parents are?
Oh, my father was John Mustard. My mother was Sue Carol Hartz Rawlings Mustard. He was Sea Org for his entire life. He died in the church. And they were both really well-known people around in LA, Pac Base and CC. We lived right across the street from Celebrity Center. I grew up in the Shangri Lodge, which is kind of infamous kind of place that some people know. Somebody on here mentioned it. Who is Karen Caff?
I don't know.
She's calling me a liar already. Oh, this is funny.
Let me see. Karen doesn't believe you, and I don't care. Okay. So,
The point, Karen, is that she wasn't around. Usually, if your
no,
parent is
don't
at
worry
work
about the
all the
chat.
time,
Don't worry about the chat. No one
there's
gives
at
a
least
shit
some
what Karen
income,
thinks.
or
Yeah.
they're home and there isn't as much income. There was neither parenting or income is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Let me see. I had a question there for you. Okay. Born into the Sea Org. How did that work? Because you yourself didn't really join the Sea Org. What happened there?
Well, I was harassed into it when I was like 12, like everybody in the neighborhood, every Scientology kid in the neighborhood was. Wait, what was the question? How does that
But
happen?
like with your parents, did one parent stay and the other
Oh yeah,
parent
my
left with
father
you?
died in the Sea Org. He stayed in the Sea Org. He never left.
So, but how did that work? They were married in the Sea Org and
No,
then
they
had a
split
kid.
up. They split up when she got pregnant because she wasn't supposed to. I think that's they had to sort of, I don't know if it was like an open agreement or how exactly clear it was, but the idea I should preface this with neither of my parents are reliable narrators. I should start with that. So I'm just going off things that they told me and things I've managed to piece together. But as soon as she got pregnant, he left, he bounced, and they got a real quick divorce.
Wow. Were you at that time the only child?
No. I have 3 older half sisters. She had 3 daughters with her first husband. He had 2 sons with his first wife. So there's a Brady Bunch already in the making, and I'm the baby all the way at the end.
So you were born into a whole mess of mustards?
Well, let's see where there were. Yeah, there were a few of us. There are a lot of mustards. No, what is freaky to me about it, and I think maybe why he left, is because she got it in the head. Like my mother had this whole narrative that I was talking to her as a disembodied spirit before I was born, and not just chatting, but kind of like ordering her to have a baby. Like it's my fault that she got pregnant. You understand? It's my responsibility because I, as a disembodied spirit, said, I need to get born, motherfucker, so you better get that job done. And this, of course, is what broke up her marriage, which she never forgave me for.
No way. So it was your tone 40. You know, the thing is, though, a tone 40 intention is not supposed to be destructive. So she never got that straight in her head.
Well, the whole thing is a jambling mess. I mean, the guy was just making it up as he goes along, I'm pretty sure. That's a hard. Well, the last thing to say on this, though, is
just imagine saying that to your kid. Okay. Your intention is what got me pregnant, and that destroyed my marriage, and I'll never forgive you. Just imagine saying that to
I can
your
name you
kid.
3 kids I knew growing up whose parents got cancer, got sick, and blamed their kids for it. You caused me turbulation, so therefore I'm sick now. Children. The other thing to say about it, though, is that I really believed all of this. You know what I mean? Like when I was a kid, I remember having full-on conversations with old timers who were convinced that I was a reincarnated Sea Org member that they had known, not just somebody from the church, but somebody they knew. So I don't know. I don't know how to make, I don't know what that means. And, I'm a very messed up person. I'm a little worried about coming into your network because everybody's so kind of normal or well-adjusted in some kind of way, and I'm not.
We're just pretending, Daniel. We're just pretending.
Yeah, some people are better at it than others, I guess. So, it all starts with this crazy shit. This is crazy making shit. The constantly being being kicked out of my own family, the doing, conditions and all that stuff. That was a constant thing all the time. I was constantly getting non-interb orders from CC all the time because I was just a nuisance. It was terrifying. It's really, I don't think, it's hard to explain to people. And even my best friend here in New York, like we were talking about it recently, and I had to like kind of stop in the middle of the conversation and make the point that this isn't just a different way of thinking about it. This is a fucked up system that is designed to hurt people and break people and fuck people in the head. It perpetuates dysfunction. And I really honestly think L. Ron Hubbard just figured out how to superimpose his psychoses onto other people, because everything he supposedly was trying to fix is all shit that he was guilty of or a victim of, or whatever, however you want to put that.
Yeah.
And I really believed I have to, especially as a young person, I did not do a lot of services. I did not participate in the institution, you know, the notion of the institutionalized religion being separate from theology and idea. So I definitely rebelled against, like, I went to the events but never paid attention, that kind of shit. But I really believed in L. Ron Hubbard. You know, when I was a kid, I used to listen to those lecture tapes all the time. And this guy was, yes. My mother was constantly boarding people. People were constantly passing through and they were always leaving stuff behind. Often that was what would happen. So there was these tapes always coming through. We never had a full set, but I used to listen to them all the time. So I had a lot of affection for him, you know, the Commodore, the old man, father figure, all that stuff. My father, of course, was out of the picture, so I'm always looking for father figures, L. Ron Hubbard's. And there's this photograph of him when he was older, sitting on a bed, and he's surrounded by the camera equipment or something. He's kind of looking over his shoulder, and he looks pretty well. He looks like a DB is what he looks like. And I look at that picture and I think that looks like me. I feel like I'm morphed into some sort of version of L. Ron Hubbard. I'm more like his kid than his kids are.
I wonder if the photo you're talking about is the one where he was sort of undercover in like Brooklyn or Queens, and he grew his hair a bit long.
Yeah, his hair is kind of long.
Yeah. That was like a disguise he was hiding. He was trying to not be recognized in that particular photo.
Look at me, don't look at me, look at me, don't look at me. He was crazy like that. He wanted to be the center of attention, but he was terrified of being looked at. He's a crazy person.
Hey, let's jump around a little bit time-wise. I know a lot of people are wondering on the Opie and Anthony video that came to be because you were living homeless. How did you come to no longer be homeless?
Liberal blue state liberalism, public assistance. I'm on Social Security disability insurance. I have been deemed by the great state of New York and the federal government to be too messed up in the head, too fragile of soul to even be useful in the workforce.
Nice.
For real. It takes years to get to that, but that's what I have. So and for anybody who has a problem with that, it frustrates me, political narratives that try to make out like public services are so simple, so easy. It's not. Everything those bureaucracies are trying to do is get you to give up and go away. It's really hard. It's really hard to get this shit, but that's beside the point. But yeah, the Opie and Anthony thing happened, right? And so I go back out on the streets. I'm still drinking my pint a day, or my liter a day rather. And then there was a Russian that I was spending time with at the time. And one night he just kicked me awake in the middle of the night, said, "Get the fuck out of here." And so I did, and I went to rehab, and I made there's two CDs that are available, EPs that are available on iTunes and stuff. And I don't know, just how unengaged I am. But the guys that made those records with me kind of took off with all that. So I have no, like, even if people were to buy that stuff, I don't make anything off of it. Those guys took off. Nothing. I don't make money off of anything. I don't make money off of Creep. That belongs to Opie and Anthony. I don't make money off of this shit on iTunes. I don't make nothing off of nothing. But that's beside the point.
Huh. The EPs, have you uploaded them as videos to your channel?
One of them is on there. Fragments of Bone is on my channel, but the other one isn't. And I feel like it used to be. I just don't know why it's not there.
The version that's on your channel, though, is it able to make money?
I suppose if there's enough
ad revenue.
Yeah, I don't really know. Like, yeah,
okay.
I'm just kind of learning how this stuff works. So I'm looking at what's on here on the home page.
I can help you figure that out.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, well, this just came up. Oh, now I've got two things going at the same time. All right, let me get out of that. I'm not tech savvy enough to play with things in the middle of a conversation. I'm sorry.
So did the Opie and Anthony thing in any way contribute to you becoming no longer homeless?
Well, the people, that's what happened. It was all these people online on Facebook and YouTube and such. When you're homeless, and I've said this before, when you're homeless, you are literally invisible. People look right through you for real. And all of a sudden I was like super visible. You know what I mean? I was nobody to the world, and all of a sudden I was somebody to a lot of people. And that's what really changed, I think.
Wow. That's awesome. So how many years now has it been that you're no longer homeless?
I've been here 9 years. I've been out. 10 years now, actually.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. People in the chat who have joined us recently are asking for the channel. This is Daniel's YouTube channel, Daniel Mustard's Homeless Songs. We're actually simultaneously streaming this video on his channel as well, if you want to open a second browser. But I think your channel's already monetized Actually, I'll have to help you figure out if your
Yeah,
channel's
help me out
monetized
with
right
this
now.
because I really don't understand it and I get very confused.
Yeah. And so, you know, when we spoke a little while ago, I said what we wanted to do was just help you get set up so that you could upload to your own channel again, play live music on your channel, upload songs to your channel, do Q&As on your channel so that it's totally in your power to decide how much you want to do, what you want to do, if you want to do it. And you know, these channels do earn revenue. So I thought it would be awesome.
And I'm a talker. I'm a motor mouth. I feel like there's a lot of people in the world these days making a living talking all day. And I feel like I could be one of those people. I certainly have a lot of opinions about things.
There you go. That's what YouTube is for, sharing your opinions with the world.
Everybody does.
So what was growing up in Scientology like for you? Like it sort of how much of that was a Sea Org experience versus a public experience?
Well, it's a weird malaise. Is that the word I'm looking for? A pastiche of thing, sort of a collage of things. Like because I was not actually in the Sea Org, but you grow up in the Shangri Lodge right across the street from CC. It's sort of an extension of CC. CC rents, you know, there was a lot of people, half the people probably who lived there were coming in and out of doing services as CC or Scientologists. Most of that building was Scientology tenants. So it was kind of like a little Scientology commune kind of going on next door to CC. This is also like poor. This is like the poor public. You know,
is that right? I didn't realize
talking about Danny Masterson and all these people. These are all the upper middle class people who like doing nice. These were the people that Scientology wants to promote as being the example of Scientology. We were the people that Scientology wanted to pretend didn't exist. We don't have any weird poor queer kids. No. We don't have any of that. Fuck that. Not in Terror Border. I feel so kicked around by these people. You have no idea. But like most of my friends growing up were either like Sea Org members or for a long time, the Manor Hotel was Sea Org berthing. And so I was always running around in there with people I knew growing up.
So help viewers understand, particularly if they haven't watched a ton of Scientology content. Because Scientology costs so much, I think it's easy for people to think all Scientologists have to be very well off. And I've sometimes explained that the lower income Scientology families tend to join staff. They tend to join the Sea Org. What was your experience living amongst and around a bunch of low income public Scientologists? How did that work? By the grace of God, I don't think it did, to be honest. Actually, it's weird because there's a couple of people I knew growing up who joined staff who are still on staff 30 years later, which blows my mind. But I don't know how well it did. Like all those people were just constantly struggling all the time and they were working their asses off. My mother worked her ass off for these people. Everybody I knew on staff, all the consistent truth of all of this, of all these kids, all the kids I grew up with is that we were just blatantly unparented. There was just nobody around most of the time, whether they were on chorus or working their ass off on staff or just working an extra job to buy the next thing or whatever it is. There were no parents around. There were just simply no parents around. And then this sort of mentality of whatever fuck ups happen, whatever mistakes are made, we can fix that later, right? We can fix that later with auditing. That mentality was very prevalent. It's this hocus pocus thinking, you know, this idea that we're just going to clear the planet tomorrow and everything will be fine. And that was sort of this sort of driving motivator of like most of the people I knew growing up. And nobody, I don't know, it's a again, like I said, as a child, the notion of we were going to save humanity, we're going to clear the planet and save everybody, that fucking meant something to me, you know, dude. And I'm offended now, like as a grown person, like how fucking sold into this thing I was. But the idea was that it was happening. It was just going to happen. It was going to happen next week. It was going to happen next month. You know, we just all had to, all hands on deck. We'd get it done. We went marching for things. We protested. I thought I was part of something important. I thought I was part of something real. How old are you now?
Too old. I'll be 46 this year. I think 47. I'm not even sure. I was born in 75, Christmas.
75.
Holy, ho, ho, ho.
So the years that you were living in the Shangri-La, or the ages, like what ages?
It's the Shangri Lodge. It's a play on
Shangri-La.
Shangri-La. Yeah, it's corny as shit. The Shangri Lodge. Yeah. All this like, you know, rocks and the rock walls and shit like that. It was like tacky.
So what ages would you have been there?
Oh, that was like, I think we moved in there when I was a year old or something. Yeah, I was a very little kid. I was born at East LA. Our first address was Echo Park. And then we lived on Franklin for like a little tiny bit. And then we moved into the Shangri-La, and I lived there well into my 20s.
Oh, really? That whole time?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a lot of people who know my dumb ass from that place. And probably not well. I was a real aggro, real angry, real introverted, really just like pissed off at things all the time. And then being seen as and being sort of accused as being the recalcitrant troublemaker, the bad kid. But it wasn't. I was just responding to something, an inherent understanding. Some shit was going on, but I didn't understand what it was. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are lying to your face all day long. And now, like, as a grown person, I still have a really hard time trusting people, like really, really a lot. And it's a very interesting conversation to have with mental health professionals because they see a lot of paranoia. And it's funny, when I first started mentioning this to mental health care professionals, they usually thought I was talking about Christian Scientists. Like, they didn't know what Scientology was. Okay. So then HBO and Alex Gibney did that documentary. That was a real turning point. That was the point in which people started to actually have some idea of what I'm talking about. Now, when I mention it, people, they go, oh, they kind of get a little, okay, all right. They don't want to look you in the eyes no more. They're afraid. I forget what I was on about.
You were talking about healthcare professionals would think you're talking about Christian Science.
No, before that, I segued into the Christian Science things for something else, but I forgot what I was on about.
Believed in a lot of people know your ass.
Yeah. Just that I was
believed
angry.
in the clearing the planet.
I was angry. I was a very angry young person, and but had no idea why. And every avenue, every conversation I could have was with a Scientologist who was going to tell me it was my fault, that I was doing that I need to take responsibility, that the church was perfect, and how dare you? You know what I mean? So that's just the end of the conversation. There's no more conversation to have. And then you add alcoholism to that, you add other abuse, childhood abuses to that, and you find yourself at 30 living in a park trying to literally drink yourself to death, and it all makes perfect sense. I honestly have, I have to really make the point to people sometimes that, considering what I've been through, that as dysfunctional as I am, this is all growth and kind of a dozen miracles in a row, to be honest, that I'm even alive still. But, I get morbid. Be careful. I get very morbid very quickly.
Okay. That's totally okay. Are you, to the best of your knowledge, declared a suppressive person?
I have no idea. I used to get those goldenrods like once a week, man. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it sounds to me like they're just declaring any old buddy these days. When I was a kid, that was scary. The idea of being a suppress, it wasn't just you talk shit about the church. The idea of an SP, the 2%er, that you're spiritually different than the rest of us. There's something wrong with your core being beyond whatever, this lifetime or whatever. No. It's so much deeper than that. And they want to just say you're an SP or Leah Remini's an SP because what? We complained? Look, your institution failed. It failed a shit ton of people. And we're allowed to be angry about that. And we're allowed to bitch about it. And if they were really being Scientologists, they would take responsibility for that. They would ask themselves, they would stop and ask themselves, what have we done to create this animosity, rather than just come at us like we're a bunch of children?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you don't know if you're declared, but how about this? When was
although
the
now
last
I probably
time,
will be after this.
Yeah, like when did you stop considering yourself a Scientologist, or when did you like officially break with Scientology?
On some levels, I still do. I still consider myself a Scientologist.
Okay.
So I don't know what to say to that. But on some level, I consider myself a Christian.
Okay,
I've never joined a Christian church.
Let's talk about that.
There's all these crossovers, right? So yes, I believe in reincarnation. I believe in past life experiences. I don't know what to make of recall that I had in auditing. Was that real or imagined? I don't know, but I did. I had a bunch of those. like I don't know. I don't know how to separate exactly. I don't know exactly how to compartmentalize what is from this and what is from that and what is from this and what is from this over here. You know, I have all sorts of. I'm working from all sorts of angles.
Well, this sounds like
fracture.
some interesting stuff to delve deeper into.
Okay.
So in what ways do you still think of yourself as a Scientologist?
The PTS SP thing, like you know, like when whatever somebody walks into the room, particularly people I know who are very gregarious and loud and kind of, you know, they walk into a room with a lot of chaos, a lot of randomity, and you drop something, you get distracted and you drop the pan on the floor. This happened this morning, and I dropped a pan on the floor, and in my head I want to be mad at him for making me go PTS, right? I don't really, but like that's the logic that like still kind of like ekes in there, even though he didn't do anything. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Totally.
Okay.
Totally. So, but let me make sure that I understand. When you say in some ways you still think of yourself as a Scientologist, do you mean in some ways there's still Scientology ideas that you hold on to? Is that what you mean, or do you mean something more than that?
Oh no, I just mean there's still some Scientology ideas I hold on to.
Okay.
Why? What do you mean?
I'm a
covert operative for the church. Look, I'm paranoid about everybody secretly working for the church. And I have very peculiar conversations with people. People say the weirdest things to me all the time. And so I don't know. Like sometimes I do. I'm always like, who is that person really? What are they really about? But that to me is what growing up in Scientology does. You never know what anybody's about because everybody's got some ulterior motive, some backhanded kind of ploy going. Either they're trying to sell you something, or they're trying to snitch on you or get you in trouble or something.
Totally. Okay, so but this is fun. This is a fun topic to discuss. So the PTSSP stuff, I mean, that's hard for a lot of people to let go of because it's so ingrained into you. For those watching, PTS means potential trouble source. SP means suppressive person. And a potential trouble source is by definition just someone who's connected to a suppressive person.
Right. Now, people can be suppressive and people can be intrusive and rude and all sorts of weird things that happen and that Scientologists walk around calling SPPTS. But I just think there's more to it than that. And the idea that just being simply connected to an SP can make you PTS.
Right.
Like that's some weird magical thinking, I think. Even though there are people who are suppressive, you know, I've been in a couple of abusive relationships, and that is very much, you are absolutely PTS to that person. That is absolutely the abuse dynamic.
I mean, it seems to me that L. Ron Hubbard just kind of weaponized the idea that there's bad people and there's people who are bad influences. There's people who are motivated by harm and evil. Right. But that these things exist on a spectrum, and he's kind of tried to weaponize it into once you put a label on someone, that's what they are. That's all of them. That's the totality of them.
Ironically, this is one of the things L. Ron Hubbard complained about psychiatry, is that psychiatry supposedly labels people and keeps them being that way forever. Yeah, this was the point of Anyway.
That's right.
You know, there's all sorts of hypocrisies all over the place when you think about it.
Yeah.
Because I honestly think I think the man was just on acid all the time. I really do. That Xenu shit, that's an acid trip. I've been on that acid trip. I'm familiar. That's totally acid. And suppose there was him and there was some other guy, and they were both like students of Aleister Crowley or some shit. And supposedly they were like living in a commune in the hills somewhere, and we're just dropping acid all day and trying to like resurrect the demon spirit of some goddess from blah 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 blah. I don't know. I don't know the whole story. I don't remember. But these were the guys. That was part of the point of talking about the poor Scientologists, is the poor Scientologists love this stuff. They love the Charlie Manson stuff. They loved the Aleister Crowley stuff. The weirder it was, the more they liked it.
Why do you think that is?
Because we're weird, because we were already weird, because we were already, this notion of the degraded being just kills me, how much that's still a trigger. Those are still trigger words for me. Aberrated is another one. But like, I feel like my whole life has been this giant surf act to literally be everything that church told me, not just not to be, but the things they shamed, the things that were the worst things to be. Right? You can be out exchange. That sucks. But don't be a queer, and don't be a homeless, a bum, a drunk. I'm all the things you're not supposed to be. And so what are you going to do?
It's funny, on my channel, I've sort of gotten into the habit of colloquially just calling things, calling people out ethics DB crims as a joke.
Who
as
said
a
that? Somebody
joke.
says that all the time. Reese, I think it's relatable. Reese, doesn't she say that?
It's me and Reese.
My mother uses that. Used to use that all the time. Crims. That's another. That's a political thing too. You know, there's a right wing notion to sort of otherize the criminal as being something other than us. Otherize the addict as being something other than us, and then they can be more easily ignored. Essentially.
What did your mom mean when she would use the word crim? What did she to you? What was she meaning?
Well, criminal, it stands for criminal. I don't know what you mean by that. I mean, like
But
there's
like
a
to her, would she
specific
call
idea of
but would
what,
she call like a kid who wasn't doing their chores a crim? Would she call someone who accepted help a
yeah,
crim?
this
She
woman, this, you know, it was, there was levels to it. The end of it was evil. If she really didn't like something, you were fucking evil. Crim was like kind of midpoint. I don't know how to put it. She was, oh, that was the joke I was going to make. It's Carrie. You know the movie Carrie?
Yeah,
Remember the mother in Carrie?
I do not.
Okay, so Carrie is the girl and she has the psychokinetics, and her mother's a Christian kind of crazy person. She's a lunatic. She's coming at Carrie all the time. This is the thing that like kind of spurs her psychoses, that then launches this whatever the power in the film. Anyway, the joke doesn't land. You know the movie, but the joke is supposed to be my mother was like Carrie's mother, but for Scientology. Like she really laid it on. You know what I mean? It was all the time, all the time. And this is something my siblings don't understand because she wasn't like this with them. She didn't do this with them because to her understanding, I was a reincarnated Sea Org member. And so she continued to treat me like a Sea Org member. You understand? The expectation of a whole track recall and all these abilities. I was supposed to figure out how to play the piano. For real. She expected this. And this was a failure on my part when I didn't. When I didn't just manifest.
Wow.
Perfect OT ability.
How come she didn't think that your older siblings were reincarnated Scientologists?
Because they didn't talk to her because she had never heard of Scientology when they were born.
Oh.
You know, this all came after. I'm 10 years later. They're 6, 8, 10, 12, and 14 years older than me. They're all much older. But her three daughters, her children from her first marriage are much older than me. Wow. So they were adolescents about when she moved to California to join the Sea Org.
Wow. Did you go to one of those Scientology schools in LA?
Mace Kingsley. In fact, I loved you and Reese doing the Mace Kingsley moms and me Facebook page. That was fucking hilarious. Those people are so full of shit. I went to the original Mace Kingsley that was in Silver Lake, I want to say. There's now a Mace Kingsley ranch. So not that. It was just kind of like, it wasn't a boarding school. It was just kind of a Scientology private school. Now, here's one of these things that pisses me off. So my mother, the consensus amongst the mothers was that public school was literal hell, right? If you sent your child to public school, they were going to die and eyeballs are going to shoot out of their face and blood from every orifice. So you couldn't do that. So the sale was, and I don't know if this was just about Delphi and Mace Kings, and I think there was another one. Like Delphi was already there. That was for the rich kids.
There was the Apple School.
Apple School. I went to Apple School. I also went to Apple School. I did not go to the Academy for super smart kids. There was that one too. I didn't go to that one, but a couple of my friends did. So then Mace Kingsley. So I went to Mace Kingsley. So the whole deal is, but these are the poor people, right? So they're scraping together whatever they can to pay this tuition, right? And I'm supposed to feel like honored and like, oh, thank you so much for sending me a place I didn't want to go to. I wanted to go. There was a music school that I tried to get into that she wouldn't let me go to. There was not a private, but it was like a magnet kind of thing. From 5th grade, I was supposed to in the 6th grade go to this music school. She wouldn't let me go to that. Instead, she sent me to Mace Kingsley. Then the money ran out and she couldn't afford to keep sending me to Mace Kingsley. So now she was just not going to go to school at all. And that's what a lot of these kids did. A lot of the kids that I grew up around just didn't go to school. I, in my infinite retardation and wisdom or whatever it was, I protested. This is the one great big act of teenage rebellion I participated in, was to insist that I got to go to school. And I went and enrolled my fucking self in junior high school.
Is that right?
Yep.
Who are some of the kids you remember from that era?
I don't know whose names I'm supposed to name. I knew Astor Woodcraft.
There's no names you're not allowed to name.
I knew Astor Woodcraft. I knew Kim Quigley. I knew, you know, like all these like the cool kids, like the Masters and stuff like that, they were people you'd see around sometimes. I remember seeing them sometimes. And Danny Masterson's kid brother hung out with us one night for some reason. I can't remember why. But I wasn't really cool. You know what I mean? I wasn't one of the cool kids. So in the building, I don't know, Frenchers. I'm trying to remember who you would know. Dave Mayo. We knew Dave Mayo.
It doesn't have to be people I would know. We have an audience. I want people to start going, oh, this guy was around with those people.
Right. Okay. Arlene Jenkins. Who knows where Arlene Jenkins is? I want to talk to her. Or Shannon Hennessy. Who knows where she is? I want to talk to her too. Monique Bonneville. Anybody know where she is? I'd love to talk to her. Monique Bonneville Landers. The Landers are probably still in. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. I'm sure I'll think of more in a minute. But I knew Sterling and people like that, but only in passing. Like I didn't really know Sterling, but I knew those guys, and they lived in the building at some point. A couple of those guys lived in the building at some point. Oh, Mark Headley. Oh, fucking Mark. Mark Headley lived in the building. Mark Headley. Do I tell the Mark Headley story, or should I wait till I actually talk to Mark Headley?
You tell it now, you can laugh about it later.
Mark was my bully when I was like 9, 10, 11. And when I was somewhere in there, I got a little red Corvette, a remote control car thing for Christmas. There was some cheap shit from like fucking Pick and Save or some shit. But I was thrilled. Oh, I was thrilled. I love this thing. And I went into the lobby because they had the thin carpet that would, roll on. And he caught it with his foot. And I don't think he meant to break it, but he did. I'm sorry, Mark. I'm sorry, Claire.
He broke that little red Corvette.
Or Lamont. There was a guy called Lamont, was a friend of Mark's. The little red Corvette. Yeah, like the song, Little Red Corvette.
Who else did you get up to trouble with at the Shangri-La?
God, I don't. It's so funny. Like I'm just like it's just so many people. I can't think.
Or who do you remember from the Celebrity Center back then?
And I don't even remember people's names. There's very particular people I remember. There's a woman, in fact, I want to remember her name, redhead woman, who was like one of these Earth Mama types, who was at CC for a long time when I was a kid. One of the things I want to talk about is that when I was a child, Scientology was full of hippies. You understand? David Miscavige corporatized it. He made it into an industry, he made it into a business or whatever it is, but it's not the same people. In the beginning, it was hippies, it was waywards, it was oddballs. The same sort of people that joined the Manson family went to Jonestown, the same kind of people. Like, I'm this close. So
how did that
I really like
the
those
culture?
people, is all I'm saying. I really like those people. But that place is gone. Those people are not there anymore. And they were systematically kicked out. There were a couple of old timers. You did a story recently about an older woman, Sea Org member, who was just sort of kicked out in her ass. We took in a woman when I was a teenager called Emmylou Harris, who had worked at the canteen at CC for 30 years. Anyone who'd ever been to CC at that time knew her well. She was hospitality, essentially. And she worked at the canteen and she took your money and you always gave it to her and you loved her. Emmylou Harris, who remembers her? And she died.
Emmylou Harris?
Emmylou. Yeah, Emmylou Harris. People would know her. I bet you people remember her.
I'm looking in the live chat to see if anybody remembers her. So was she a Sea Org member, or was this back when you didn't have to be a Sea Org member?
No, she was Sea Org. She was a longtime Sea Org. She had a husband, died a long time ago. She joined the church in New York, and she was eventually she got too old to work, and they kicked her out. She wasn't even until she died. My father, he stuck it out rather than seek. Here's the thing people keep asking about medical concerns. Now, I worked for Shaw Health Center. I worked at Shaw Health Center for a long time. Worked for Dr. Dank, who was L. Ron Hubbard's physician, and supposedly was getting him all sorts of crazy wackadoo drugs at the end. He never talked about it. Dank was very respectful about the old man. But my father, on the other hand, well, the point I was trying to make was the mentality of, you can audit it away, you can fix it, you can, the joke I make all the time is the reason Tom Cruise has no problem jumping off buildings and shit is because he honestly believes that if everything goes wrong and he goes plummeting to the ground, he'll somehow be able to will his way out of it. You know what I'm saying? And that was the sort of mentality of like, fuck it, just let him, he rather than waste the church's money on treatment, he just went home to die, and they rented him some stupid little apartment and just let him die.
You're talking about Dr. Dank.
No, now I'm talking about my father. Sorry, I got it confused there. Died or dang, I don't know. He quit. He did a thing a lot of people do. He quit smoking, and within a year he had lung cancer and died. I don't know why that happens, but it's something I've heard of like a bunch of times. You quit smoking, and all of a sudden shit goes weird.
So was your dad in the Sea Org until he died?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what his post was?
He worked at Bridge Publications for a long time. He was the manager of the Manor Hotel for a long time, which is in the CC International Building.
And you said it was John Mustard
off Hearst. John Mustard, yeah. He worked at, I don't remember, Ash Show at some point, I forget. And he was on the boats. He was on the original, not Free Winds. What was it called?
The Apollo?
Yeah, he was on the Apollo missions.
When did he die?
Right before 9/11.
So 2000, 2001?
Yeah, something like that. I don't really honestly remember. And it's funny because I recently asked my half brother if he remembers, and he doesn't remember either. That's how much we loved him. That, we weren't, close. But I was there. I sat there by his bedside and watched him die.
So you were with him at the end? Jesus.
Yep.
Do you remember what year he would have joined the Sea Org?
Some little pimple-faced little Sea Org member came in to like counsel me. And he's like trying to tell me like, oh, he's not gone. He's moved on. Spirit. I have no idea what it's so funny to me. I almost smacked that kid. Anyway, what was your question?
Do you know what year he would have joined the Sea Org?
I want to say 69, something like that. I don't really know. He was not forthcoming with information. He really wasn't.
He would have been in from essentially 70 to 30 years. 30 years in the Sea Org.
He was in them for yeah.
At the end, do you happen to remember?
I'm pretty sure he probably knew Kate Bornstein. I want to talk to her.
Oh yeah,
he knew him.
Yeah. So you mentioned him working as the manager of the Manor Hotel, and you mentioned Bridge. Which one was the most recent post that he had?
The last was CC, and then he was RPF'd. He was on the RPF for a long, long time. I think he was having sex with people. I think he was having sexual relations, but I can't be certain. But he was RPF, which was great for me because I got to go see him.
Wow.
That was the only time I got to see him was when he was in trouble.
So then where did he die? Like what?
He died in the building right next door. No. They did like they do. Usually they would do this at the Shangri Lodge, but because the Shangri Lodge was run by his ex-wife and his son lived there, they then instead rented the apartment in the building next door. But they did what they do and had done. They just did it somewhere else.
I think this is probably Christy in the chat. John Mustard, who was the manufacturing secretary for Bridge Publications.
Yeah. He made the leather-bound, the ribbon, gold leaf books, which to me, when I was little, was the coolest thing in the world. I thought that was so cool.
Amber Vanass says, I was in the Sea Org at Celebrity Center with John.
Amber, who was this? Did I know you?
Her name's Amber Vanass.
Amber Vanass. I don't know that one. All right.
Let me see. Did you know Nora? I'm trying to remember Sova. I'm trying to remember Nora's maiden name. It's not Nora Sova, I think was her maiden name. Did you know last name Sova?
No. I knew Juliette Lewis's family. I knew all of them.
Yeah.
Did you know them? Glennis,
did you know them well?
Lived in the building, yeah.
Lightfield and whatever.
Lightfield, Brandy, Bo, Quillen, Dree, the whole clan.
Amber says, yes, you know me. I was married to Nick.
Oh, Amber. I know Amber. Amber lived in the building too. Nick, yes, I've talked to Amber. I didn't realize the last name Amber. I'm sorry. Yes, I know Amber. I know Amber from way back when.
Which Nick would that be?
Pachowski, something Polish. Difficult to fit in the mouth. I like Nick. I used to work with Nick, but Amber was my friend long before that.
Oh, look, this is funny. May the force be with you, says Mark Headley owes Daniel. Maybe he should get him a red Corvette remote control car.
That would be really funny. Yeah, that's funny.
And actually, it says, or maybe help from the Aftermath Foundation for his needs and his wants. Well, actually,
the Aftermath Foundation has already provided some needs and wants. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to talk about, but I appreciate it greatly.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly the setup here, if nothing else. Like you all sent
the foundation did get Daniel everything he needed to get started up and running again on his YouTube channel, so that he's got something you can do in your own without being at anyone else's mercy to Upload it whenever you want, whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely, and also because I have this mic now, that's gonna help. So I can definitely make more music, more. I really want to get into the GarageBand. There's GarageBand on this laptop, and I am trying to figure it out because that would be so much better. Because here's the thing that nobody understands: I'm not really a guitar player, and I don't want to play guitar. I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter. I got melodies, I got words, I got a big voice. I really need somebody else to be playing the instrument. So I have a hard time doing performance or whatever. But I really want to write songs for other people to sing. Is really what
you're so good at it, though.
So what? There's the notion, right, that if you have a talent for something that you should then pursue it. And okay, but I don't know. I don't know why.
Actually, that's a good point. Just because you're great at something,
right,
doesn't mean you have to.
Right, doesn't mean you have to do that for your life. That doesn't mean it's necessarily your vocation. But it's compulsive. I do kind of just do it all the time. Write music. I'm just constantly writing music, and I write music to everything. I write music to car alarms. I had an MRI recently. You're in the tube and it's beep, beep, beep. I'm singing a song to it. So it's not like it goes away. So I think, because this mechanism is here in me and I'm just doing this all the time, maybe it means something. Oh, and plus I can sing, which is nice, So yeah. And I don't know. I don't know what to do with it. That's my problem. I don't know how to capitalize. The joke somebody made recently, a friend of mine from Chicago said that, what is it that people these days can monetize pictures of their lunch. What's wrong with you? Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, you're right. What the fuck am I doing? I don't know.
Well, for anyone, I'm
just a creep. Hey, what do I know? I was born in a cult.
For anyone who just recently joined the chat, you can find Daniel's YouTube channel at Daniel Mustard.
Who's Optical Reward? I'm sorry. I just cut you off. You're promoting me, and what do? I step all over you.
That's all right. Who is Optical Reward? I used to hang with Danny back in the day. I'll keep an eye on the live chat. Oh, if you can see the live chat, you keep your eye on that and see if he answers that question. I'm going to pull up some other things here real quick. Lean on me. Daniel actually makes a lot of sense. He just says out loud what a lot of people say quietly. And check this one out. Miss D says, Daniel, your dad saved me from being kidnapped when I was 6 years old.
All right. Thank you, Miss D. I don't know this story, but I'm glad to know he did somebody some kindness.
And Corinne Heinzman. Hi, Dan. I remember you.
BHP Corinne. Yes. I remember you too. Fisher King.
What is BHP?
We did a scene. BHP was Bel Air's Playhouse, which was an acting school, also run and operated by Scientologists.
Did you go there?
Yes, I did for a long time. I knew Corinne Heinzman well. She's awesome. She looks like fucking Sharon Stone. She's gorgeous. And we did a Fisher King. We did the Fisher King. I played the Robin Williams part. She played the Amanda Plummer part. It was fantastic.
Were you there with Grant Cardone and Elena Cardone by any chance?
I did not know Grant Cardone. I was looking at something of him today, and I do not know that man.
What about Tate Rupert?
I don't. Tate Rupert. No, I don't know. Oh, what's her name? Rashida Jones. Rashida Jones was in my class.
Oh, wow.
Quincy Jones's daughter.
Yeah, she's great.
Who's gone on to be quite the hipster queen.
Jim Meskimen, was he around back then?
Oh, yeah. Jim Meskimen. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
LeBaron. Did you know the LeBarons? They were kind of a well-known family in LA. They were also, two of them were in classes at some point. What's her name? What's her name? Jenna Elfman. Jenna and Bodie were both in the BHP. There were a few other. Ferreira. Do you remember him? He was in RoboCop.
Who?
Ferreira. I think his name was Ferreira.
I'm only asking you about Scientologists that I know.
Yeah, they were Scientologists.
Oh,
at the BHP, I mean.
Oh.
Well, now I'm talking about the famous Scientologists that were at the BHP. Jenna Bodie Elfman. The guy, his name is Ferreira. I forget. He's the guy who designs the RoboCop in the movie RoboCop, if you know who that is.
Okay, the guy that we were asking who he was says, Danny, remember Justin? Me, Brett, and Wes would frequent the Shangri-La.
Yes, I remember Justin. I can't say the nickname because it's culture insensitive, but I do.
What does it rhyme with?
Let him tell you. It's okay for him to say. It's not okay for me to say.
And that was his nickname?
I can't tell. I'm not going to tell you. Did he tell you? Did he say?
No. I'm saying.
But Brett, and there was two Wesleys.
Abel Ferreira.
Abel Ferreira. Is that his name, Ferreira? Okay.
Now I want to look it up because that sounds.
And he was a Scientologist back in the day.
That dude was a Scientologist?
Yeah, the guy from RoboCop. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure he's dead. I'm pretty sure he passed away a while ago.
He is not dead.
Oh, well then we're talking about the wrong guy then. Because
Oh,
well,
okay.
no, maybe not. I don't know. I'd have to look at a picture. I'm not certain, but he is the guy from RoboCop. I know that much. In the original
Wow.
RoboCop.
Very interesting. I'm looking at some of these other ones. Rashida Jones wasn't a Scientologist though, right?
No, I don't. Not to my knowledge. No, she was just there at the school and learning, on a fast track to be, back on 30 Rock. I think was the next she did right after that.
Right,
not 30 Rock.
right.
Park and Rec.
Oh yeah, that's so good. Such a good one. Jersey Janet, Daniel, we are all crazy. P.S. You have the coolest beard.
Beard love. Thanks, man.
Miss D says this was in the Asho parking lot on Temple Street in 1971. Oh, saving her from being kidnapped.
Wow. Well, all right. This is crazy. I know what you're talking about, the Asho parking lot.
Wow. Shelley Martin either made a mistake or is extremely generous here. It says, not an ex-Scientologist, but an ex-cult member, Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm an avid follower and watcher. This is my first time. Huh?
See a lot of Jehovah's in my neighborhood. Go ahead. Sorry.
This is my first time able to watch it live since I'm on the other side of the country, Washington State. No Scientology near me, thankfully. I really love your channel and your collaborations. Thank you so much, Shelley. That is incredible. Quick question. We're kind of jumping around here a little bit, but it says, what drew your parents to Scientology?
Was a full-on hippie of his generation, and he, like so many people, was looking for some new way of being. It's that post-war era. After World War II, the world was really seriously shooken, and there were a lot of people, a lot of nations, a lot of governments trying to build a better world. We introduced a lot of socialism into a lot of places because of the DHS in the UK and so on and so forth. So there's these hippies, this hippie generation, this tune-out generation, the generation that understood that the conventional wisdoms were bullshit and they were looking for something else. And Scientology just fit that bill for a lot of people. It really did. But so did Jonestown. Anyway, and then what was the other question? My mother, I don't really know. She was looking for some out. There was a boyfriend, a guy called Marvin, I think. I forgot. Marvin or Martin. I'd never heard this story. My sister told me the story just recently that there was some boyfriend. I had no idea. My mother describes it like she was escaping from her first husband. Her first husband's father was a 4-star general. They were like, status people. And so she always described it like she was running away from them. And she used Scientology to escape from them. That's not, I don't think, the truth. As I understand it, they had already divorced, and I don't know. But she believed. I think she just wanted that magical thinking. I think she wanted the magic powers, and she praised herself for supposedly birthing like some sort of like she thought it was going to be the Scientology Messiah or some shit. Like she really was that far gone with it.
Wow. I think someone is saying something here about seeing you at La Poubelle, unless it's referring to someone else.
Yeah, La Poubelle, Pritzi's, Bourgeois Pig. Those were our spots.
I used to go to it. How do they say it? Bourgeois Pig or Bourgeoisie Pig?
Oh, bourgeoisie is technically
how did you say? How did you say?
Bourgeois. But there are legitimate English pronunciations of French words. Like it's not ballet, it's ballet. Do you know what I mean? But nobody American says ballet. You say ballet, you say filet. But those are American versions of French, American pronunciations of French words.
Okay, so hey,
my mother was a speech and hearing therapist also.
She was a what?
Speech and hearing therapist.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the guy from RoboCop.
Thank you.
Apparently.
Oh hell no, Kelly. I love you too.
Is this the dude right here?
Yeah, that's him. That's the guy. Yeah.
This guy was a Scientologist?
Yeah. And a real prick. Total prick. Total prick. He is dead, right? Tell me he's dead. Yeah. A while ago. Yeah.
Wait, where does it say? Oh, yeah, he died in 2017.
2017, yeah.
Wow.
Total prick. Little Napoleon, like David Miscavige. Oh, that's what I wanted to make fun of. David Miscavige used to come into Shaw Health Center. So I don't know if you've ever met the guy.
Who?
David Miscavige.
I mean, I've never had a conversation with him.
No, you're not allowed to talk to him. In fact, we were instructed not to even look him in the eyes. I'm not kidding. And here's the thing about David. We all know how short he is, right? He's super short. What do you call him? The world's shortest cult leader. He is also really slight. He's not just short. He's also really, really petite.
Do you mean Lil Captain Davy, Fake Space Navy?
Yeah, there he is. The Fake Space Navy. Him and Mike Pence should go to space together.
So he's slight, he's short and slight.
Yeah, he's short and slight. He is the definition of Napoleonic complex. He used to come marching down that hallway, and there was one time, I want to joke, like people were jumping out of his way. There was one time Mara actually did have to jump out of his way, but because that's the deal. He's coming down the hallway, and anybody stopping his intention is an SP. So you better get the fuck out of his way. Do you know what I mean? And that's how he carried himself. Absolute nutter. Fury, just rage machine, little rage monster, little gremlin, absolute gremlin. The only one I'll defend is John Travolta. He was really nice. He was always nice.
So John would come into Shaw's Health Center as well?
Mm-hmm.
Why was Dave coming in there?
I have no idea.
Oh.
We wouldn't know that. Probably he came in to see Dr. Price, Dr. Stephen Price, who was the chiropractor. So Shaw Health Center was 2 MDs and a chiropractor, and then there were others. There was a DO, there was osteopaths, there was an acupuncturist. We even had a barber at one point. All kind of homeopathic medicine, all sort of alternative medicine but with actual MDs involved, right? It was a good idea, I think. But so Dave was there to see Dr. Price, who was the chiropractor, who was the head, he was the co-owner and the head of the chiropractic part of the place. So I don't know. Maybe he was there for treatment. Maybe they were there to jerk each other off. I have no idea. Yes, Susie Q, I am an ass.
I don't think she was talking about you. She was talking about Miguel Ferrer.
Oh, he was. Oh, yeah, he was an ass. I mean, the kind of ass, like, what's funny about it, too, because it's the Scientology think on it. So, like, he was an ass, and then we were all taught to admire that. Him being an asshole was Tone 40. Him being asshole was him being cause, right? But railroading through people on the way with no concern. But we were taught to admire that. Like that was something we were all aspiring to be.
Right.
And in Hollywood, it's not the worst advice, but also, I don't know, it's not good life advice.
Amber says, Orion guy was in the cadet org with me.
Oh, right. I don't know.
I just assumed that you would know what that was. She might be. She says, I always wondered what happened to Orion. No.
Oh, Orion Torney? No, he wasn't a Scientologist, so I don't think he was.
Well, she said he was in the cadet org with her.
Oh, Orion. I don't know. But I've done a lot of hard drinking. I'm sober now, but I'm just saying, I guess Swiss cheese. I don't know.
Oh, here we go. Hold on. Do you know Orion Michael Guy? Huh.
Orion
okay.
Michael Guy. I don't think so.
Huh.
I don't think so.
Oh, Miguel Ferrer is George Clooney's cousin, son of Jose Ferrer and Rosemary Clooney.
Yes. They're related. Yes. His father was and Rosemary Clooney. Yeah.
So now I'm dying to know how much Scientology this guy did.
Don't know. And then Milton Katsalis, was that his name?
Yeah.
The guy who ran the place. I don't know. I'm curious to know how much Scientology he had. But,
he was like OT5, I think.
Yeah, and he presumably knew L. Ron Hubbard. But it turned out he was sticking his fingers in students.
Oh.
He was sexually assaulting women.
Non-consensually?
It's coerced. Do you know what I mean? Like it's the using of the power of the position he had as the leader of that group and the owner of the school. Yikes. Right. And then the school applied a lot of the Scientology kind of talk, like, you can't do it without us.
I believe the reason Grant Cardone went after Milton Katselis so bad is because one of the people he was dipping into was Elena.
Oh, see, I didn't even know all that.
Yeah.
Ooh, Gary Imhoff. I wonder what happened to him.
What do you see that in the live chat?
No, he was a BHP teacher. He was one of the teachers at the Beverly Hills Playhouse.
Oh,
there was a couple of the teachers there that I loved. I thought were great people.
Abnormalcy Bias says the whole BHP were Scientology, but I don't think that's true.
Not everybody, but mostly. I remember Rashida Jones was there. There was a kickboxer came through our class at one point. He wasn't a Scientologist.
No, but I mean, like, it's not a requirement. It wasn't a requirement to be a Scientologist to be accepted as a student.
Oh, right. No. It was just it was just promoted itself as an acting school. And as far as I understand, they were fairly effective. It's not even like they weren't providing a good product. It was just all creepy culty at the same time.
Right. Oh, I saw another mention from Abnormalcy Bias that he went to, he was one of the people who went to the Beverly Hills Playhouse.
Oh. Who was his teacher? I would know that, but I don't know.
Okay,
coming late.
Paula Bizak. Daniel, my brother, you were older than me. Do you still feel the
Feel the
pain?
pain of the scars that won't heal. Yes, sir, I do. Daniel, you're a star.
Are these the lyrics of a song?
Elton John. It's an Elton John song, yeah.
Oh, see, I grew up in a cult. I wouldn't know.
Right, but see, I grew up poor, so we had the cassette deck in the car forever. And so Elton John's greatest hits got played to shit. Billy Joel got played to shit. ABBA got played to shit. You know what I mean? There were certain tapes that just got played forever. Nat King Cole. And that was one of them. Elton John's
The
greatest
only
hits.
thing we ever listened to was The Road to Freedom.
Oh, I could do that. So true. It's the way to happiness. Do you remember Thank You for Listening? Do you remember that? I love that. I had that cassette. I loved it.
I
loved it.
did like it. I did
There
like
is
it.
a road to happiness, no matter what the rest say. Fuck you. I was so invested as a child. You know what I mean? Like, I think about what a goober idiot I was. I'm so pissed. I love that stupid old man.
So hey, what was your final departure from what was your break from Scientology? What happened? When was it?
It was
What
a
was
relationship, I guess,
Oh.
that I was in with somebody who kept pointing it out. You're really scared of this. You're really scared of this. You're really scared of this. And I would go, no, I'm not. What are you kidding me? This is great. It's the thing. It's blah, blah, blah. And then one day I had a breakdown in a grocery store and just wept for like 32 minutes. And went, you know what? I think I am. And like I said, honestly, it wasn't until, how do you get out from under, brainwashing, mind control, crazy shit? I don't know. But honestly, it wasn't until I moved across the country, until I moved to New York, that I even started to feel, it wasn't about leaving. Again, that's escaping is the right word. That's even though I didn't have to escape the Sea Org or the fucking golden era bland-based bullshit, I still felt like I was escaping. And it wasn't until I was there, away from it all, and my sister, who was still living in New York, moved to Florida. Like, that was over. Like, I didn't have to deal with that anymore because she's still a Scientologist. That's when I, finally started to realize that there was something to escape in the first place. Like, I didn't know that. I thought, and also I'm come from the 90s, California, like, it's alternative nation, man. We're all into the weird shit. You know what I mean? And Scientology was just another kind of like weird, fucked up. Yeah, I'm part of a weird culty religion. I don't know. That seemed not cool necessarily, but not as crazy as I realize now it really really is. It's not a joke. It's just not a joke. And people like, I don't know. I think, people don't know. People just don't know, and that's why we do this, is to inform people about what it is.
Yeah.
Because it's not.
So here's a couple things. Abnormalcy Bias says, I studied with Gary right up until he left. Amazing teacher.
Yeah.
Jamie Lynn says, Daniel, I hope you come back to Alive soon. You're a joy to listen to, your stories and music. Thank you, Aaron, for having him on.
Thank you.
We've been trying to do this for a while. I'm glad we finally got it done. Okay, Miss D says, question for Daniel. I've come in late, so if I missed you mentioning him, I'm sorry. Whatever happened to Jamie? Also, I knew your 3 half sisters, and I remember when your dad married your mom.
Oh, wow. Miss D, we need to talk. Call me. I want to know people who knew them. I want to know.
Do you have an email address people can reach you at?
I guess. I mean, there's an email address attached to the YouTube channel, isn't there? Can't somebody? I don't know. I don't know.
Here, hold on. Let me look. Let me see if your email address is on your YouTube channel. Hold on. How about this? Whatever email address you're comfortable with literally anybody reaching you at, just say what it is.
Okay, we'll just do the homeless mustard at Gmail. Yeah,
Homeless,
email me, Miss D. Email me. I'll talk to you. I'll tell you all about it.
homelessmustard@gmail.com.
Yeah, homeless mustard.
And if you can't spell that,
homeless
you can't reach
mustard.
Okay, cool. Let me see. Lori plays, please ask Daniel to sing something for us before this live is over.
Can I promise to do it next time? Because it's the sort of thing I would like to prepare.
Yes, indeed.
Or I could just send you a new link. Whatever. I need to get better at recording this stuff, because I record these songs, but I don't really like the last thing I put up. Somebody's like, Mike the guitar, and I don't even think of that. I'm like, oh, Mike the guitar. I don't know this.
I'll tell you, one of the things I really, really hope that you do with your channel is play live music.
Yeah. I've been toying with because when I sit down and I'm writing, right? And so for good 2-3 hours, not every day, every other day or something. I'll just sit down and work on the songs I'm working on. And it's stop and start and it's hit and miss and things go off key. And I've been thinking about just live streaming that. Like it wouldn't necessarily be a proper performance, but I think people might be interested to watch the process.
Absolutely. Like 100%. I hope you do stuff like that. Because people love that stuff. I think people will love that stuff.
But there's always the thing with people, you know, you always think, well, who's gonna watch me do, but people do, you know, so this is what it is.
Yeah. You're gonna do something with Vanessa. You've known Vanessa a long time, haven't you?
I've known Vanessa a long time. Her mom and my mom were very good friends, besties back in the day. Her mom was one of those kind of women that everybody was kind of in love with. She was just, you know, cool. But not anymore. Vanessa tells me, oh no, she's not the same person anymore, which I'm sure is true. So I've known her since she was like, I don't know. I want to say I've known her since she was born. I don't remember though if I knew her since then, but probably. Speaking of new since they were born though, Shelton, Lorna, Jessica, Connor, any of you people. I want to talk to you people too. Sorry, you were asking.
Their last name is
Shelton.
Not
Lorna,
related to
Lorna
not related to Chris Shelton though.
The singer-songwriter Chris Shelton? No.
No, the former Sea Org member Chris Shelton.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, there's a big family. It was a big family. A lot of those people were in the Sea Org, so might be.
I've never heard of Chris having siblings.
Okay, then probably not. But they were a big Sea Org family. They were a huge family. They were from Hawaii. And Patty Cap. Oh, Patty Cap. I wonder what happened to her. This is so funny.
Oh yeah, Chris is not from Hawaii.
And they were white people, but from Hawaii.
Chris is a white person who's not from Hawaii.
So probably not related.
Oh, okay. Let me see. I have questions. Says I think they might be looking at the wrong channel. I checked out his videos. He has literally millions and millions of views on other people's channels. That's true. Let me see. Your channel has 1.6 million views.
Yeah, Opie and Anthony. The original Creed clip is well over, I don't know, 10 million or some crazy number.
And so that's something that you could do. You could just recreate that performance on your channel.
Lightning in a bottle.
What?
I don't know if I can recreate that performance, Aaron. Honestly, that performance is one of the. I hear what you're saying, and people keep saying, "Why don't you re-record Creed?" And I will. I need to get better at this presentation. You know, all I do is I sing the way I sing, and that's cool. And I play guitar badly, and I really need some instrumentation or something because I don't really know what more to do.
I'll tell you,
I put all I got into it. I don't know what else to do.
The great thing about YouTube is every day is another day. You could do a video yesterday. You could do the same damn video today. The algorithm is going to push out whatever it wants to push out. Whatever YouTube sees people engaging with is going to get broader distribution. You could do the same song every damn week. And in fact, and this is just theoretical, I don't really think you should do the same song every week. But doing the same song in a video every week is even better than having one video that sits there for 10 years or something like that. I mean, it depends.
Yeah,
that's the thing about YouTube. You do whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want.
The wisdom of the YouTube. It's about content. It's about the more stuff you create, right? So,
oh, that's not the one I was looking for.
Oh, what?
Susie Q says, "Listen, Aaron is terrible at presentation, but look at him."
No, he's not. That's just it. Aaron's very good at this.
She's kidding.
Yeah, all right.
I choose to believe that she's kidding.
Put that on a t-shirt. I choose to believe that she's kidding.
Oh, check this out. I like this comment. People will pay more to see the sausage being made than they do for the sausage.
I don't know. Yeah, that seems like a good idea. I think I should probably do that.
Who else would you like to do stuff with?
You mean as far as network, as far as this?
Sure.
Well, who else have I been looking? Oh, John Atack is fucking amazing. Reese is lovely. Andrew Gold is very interesting. I don't remember. I know I've watched a couple more things, but I can't remember who else I've seen. But I don't know. I'm willing. I'm game. I never say no. So if somebody want to do something, let's do it.
Awesome. Awesome. Let's
I'm a
say
talker,
again,
like I said. I know how to talk.
for anyone a little newer to the chat, you can find Daniel's YouTube channel
Daniel
at
Mustard.
Daniel
See
Mustard.
how much redder my beard used to be? Oh.
Wow. So what happened? Did it get bleached in the sun, sleeping in the park?
Yes, that's it. Yes.
Well, no, because even this photo was after your homeless period, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a lark. That's a fluke. That was a professional photograph taken by a guy called Ireland, I think, that I just randomly ran into his assistant on 26th Street one day. And she's like, come take a picture with me.
I didn't know you could ungingerize yourself.
Well, I'm going gray. It's going white.
Oh.
This will end up white. This will end up white is what this. It's creamsicle right now. It's creamsicle. It's the in between. This will end up white. I'll look like Santa fucking Claus. Ho ho ho.
I mean, I'm trying to. I somehow it was lost on me that you're no longer that red-haired raven.
It's just a great photograph. It's like the best picture ever taken of me. So I can't lose
Tell
it.
everyone the story of this.
This is
image.
a real picture. This is not a composite or an effect. This is a real picture of a billboard frame in this New York City subway that had been torn down in between things. And so it's years of different strips of different posters and ads all layered on top of each other. I love this picture.
Nice.
Because it's not an effect. It looks like an effect. It looks like something somebody created with some graphic art thing, but it's not. It's a literal snapshot.
2 magical pictures on one profile. How about that?
That's all I got. Yeah, I'm good at that. I got nothing, then magic.
Awesome.
Consistency of it.
This was Tassie.
Throw a little glitter on it. I know that, Lydia. Throw a little glitter on it. That's Monster. Not Monster Ball, but I'm sorry. That's Michael Alec. That's a Michael Alec reference.
Where is
James
it? I'll
St.
pull
James.
it up.
I don't know. I just saw that. Throw a little glitter on it. Lydia Von Stretch Claw.
Oh, yeah.
I just love that. I just love. It's just a kind of odd esoteric reference.
I'm trying to find it. I can't find it. That's all right. Oh yeah. So Tassie says Mark Headley can make amends to Daniel for Red Corvette. Set up his gear for song recording.
Yeah, right, Mark. It's hard. It's difficult to get people to help you because everybody, especially here in New York, I guess, because everybody wants to do their own thing, and then nobody wants to like spend too much time on other people's things. And then every once in a while, somebody says yes, and then they die or something bad happens. So apparently they're PTS to me, and I know it's an endless cycle. Oh, Solomon Blue. What was her name? Stephanie Solomon. Ooh,
what about who's this person?
Just another Scientology person I grew up with that I wonder about. Renee Talbot, who's not Renee Talbot anymore, but she's out. She's living it, but she's still. I'm very suspicious of ex-Scientologists who still live in Florida. Aren't you one of them?
I live in Clearwater.
Ha! Ha! Why? You're too close. Don't go. No.
I go. Why the fuck should I leave? They can fucking leave. I don't give a shit.
And that's what you guys need to do. You need to run for office down there and get those fucking people.
I did run for office. I almost won.
All right, we'll do it again. You're even more popular now.
I'll never do it again.
All right.
It's
why are there so many gingers on SPTV? Because L. Ron Hubbard was a ginger, baby.
I am not a ginger, by the way. I am not
a ginger. You can call another ginger.
I am not a ginger, despite what my beard might look like on camera and in real life.
Gingery. Yeah. Your beard is ginger, but a lot of times there's a lot of ginger in people's beards that isn't necessarily elsewhere. That happens a lot.
This was all brown, folks. Golden locks, golden curly brown locks.
Yeah. I was a ginge.
But no, I remember when I was walking with Mark Headley down like the street of LA, and we got to the stoplight where you couldn't walk, and I stepped over into the shade, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you're a ginger."
I gotta hide from the sun, man, and my friends don't get it. I'm like, I literally will just disappear, and they're like, "What the fuck happened to you?" I was like, "I can't stand there in the fucking sun like that." Just like waiting to cross the street or something. I'll wait back next to the building.
Right. Okay. Chaotic Bleach says, "What happens when there's only a few thousand members left, and it's obvious that there aren't millions of members? What will David Miscavige do?" We're already at that place. Like any Scientologist that opens their eyes knows there's only a few thousand.
But they don't. That's the problem. You can't. Somebody said the phrase thought stopping recently. And I thought, yeah, that's totally the game. You know, you never get there. You never get to that place of cognition, of realization, because the whole system is set up to veer you away from it so that you don't. You know, you can't even look at, like, somebody had to tell me it was okay for me to be angry with my abusers. Like, you're not even allowed to identify your abusers if you're a Scientologist. Never mind be angry with them. And if you try, look what happened to David Miscavige's victim. Not David, Danny Masterson's victims. Like, they tried to tell their story, and some of the church went,
exactly.
I like that one.
Okay, Abigail says, Daniel, you should go on BFG. That's Mark's channel. That would be an interesting conversation. I'd love to see how Mark reacts to.
And we knew a lot of people in common. He would know all the Shangri-La people and stuff too. Yeah, I really should. I'm scared to talk to Mark.
Denver Stevo says, how can Daniel be a ginger? He has a soul.
See, the prejudice. It's not okay, man. It's not okay. There's an Australian comic called Tim Minchin. Does a song about gingers. Only a ginger can call another ginger. And it's all about, it's kind of written from the sort of like idea that we're oppressed, like we're a marginalized, segregated people, the gingers. And it's the same letters, Nigger and Ginger. You see, this is very clever. He's very clever, this guy. Tim Minchin. Very, very clever. Very, very clever. Check that song out. It's fantastic.
Oh my goodness. Well, hey, this has been an awesome first chat.
Yeah, it has. This is crazy.
I would say whenever you're watching any of my videos or anyone else's videos, if you go, hey, that inspires me, I want to talk about this, or I want to tell this story, just hit me up.
Every time I watch one of your videos, I'm constantly stopping to like make my comment about what I want to say about it. When you and Reese were on about history, I wanted to smack the both of you, to be honest. I like history, and I know history, and I know American history, and I know the conventional history, and I know the subversive history. I know all the absurd. I know this shit. I was like, what? But the joke.
I was kidding. I know
you were kind of kidding, but the joke that somebody had made was, this is how Europeans think all Americans are.
Right.
And unfortunately,
that's what's funny, especially considering that I was trolling so hard.
I don't know. Did you ever get to the bill? Did you ever get to the bill on Capitol Hill?
We never even got there. We only did the first. The only one we got to was the No More Kings.
Yeah, that's which is literally the most convoluted of all the Schoolhouse Rocks.
But Daniel, I was not
Conjunction Junction.
I was not kidding about the prairie. I was not kidding about the prairie stuff. I never would have guessed that they had dictionaries or books.
Oh, the
on
questions.
The prairie.
Well, see, there were definitely books.
The prairie was wild, bro. The prairie was wild.
If there was a dictionary in the prairie, maybe the preacher might have had one, but I don't think regular people would have had a dictionary.
See, we agree. Yeah, we totally agree.
Scarce. They were just hard to come by, and especially
carrying around.
Yeah, and if you're on a covered wagon going to the frontier, you're not, unless you're Daria, you're not really bringing books with you.
They're not going, who forgot to pack the dictionary? What are we gonna do now?
Oh, there's a thing I used to fight with teachers about, was the dictionary. Because of course they teach you to figure it out from context. I used to get into big arguments with teachers about getting up to get the dictionary. And I felt this conviction, this was my religious conviction, to be able to look up words in a fucking dictionary, because I felt necessary. I used to get into really weird arguments with teachers about it. Because they didn't want the disruption, but at the same time they appreciated that I wanted to know things. Do you know what I mean? Like, they couldn't really quite circle that square.
Yeah. Cool. Hey guys, one last plug. Daniel's YouTube channel is Daniel Mustard's Homeless Songs. Go and check it out. Let's see. 19.5. Let's see if it's going up at all. 19.5.
No matter how, what am I going to do? I'm too weird for this.
No. I'm sure it went up earlier and I refreshed it already. Okay. This has been a blast, man.
I want to do this again. So that you had said, like, we can do this again. We can do this again. So we can do this again.
Absolutely. Anytime you want.
And I will. I'm going to turn to my mother. I'm going to constantly start taking notes of things I want to talk to you about.
Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with us this afternoon. Thanks to everyone who watches until the very end. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.